welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern, and at the request of Patreon subscriber Toolbox Hero, this is Grumgully Jund. This is a kind of classic Melira, literally Melira's in the deck, but Melira Sylvok Outcast. I'll try to get this card on the screen for the viewers. Melira Sylvok Outcast, one of the earliest combo engines when Modern first became a format. It's a grizzly bear, and you can't get poison. Creatures you control can't have -1 counters on them, and creatures your opponents control lose infect. Two of these abilities usually don't matter. The middle one's the important one. Creatures you control can't have -1 counters on them. That means if a creature with Persist dies, like Kitchen Finks, or like Safehold Elite, Persist reads, when this creature dies, if it had no -1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its control with a -1 counter on it. If it dies, comes back, but can't have -1 counters on it, then it just dies and comes back. And it can die and come back infinitely because the Persist clause never gets met because it never has a -1 counter on it when it dies. Grumgully is another way to do this. Non-humans you control enter with an additional +1 counter on it. If a creature has a +1 counter and a -1 counter on it at the same time, they just both disappear. It doesn't carry both. They wash out in the rules and you take them both off. So this is another Melira. Once we have creatures that can die an infinite number of times, what do we do with that? Goblin Bombardment, that's infinite damage anywhere you want. Carrion Feeder is an infinitely large creature. Yawgmoth draws your deck and puts infinite -1 counters wherever you want, so it's infinite creature removal. If you have Kitchen Finks with no other payoff, you just have infinite life. And that's the central part of that. Eldritch Evolution and Green Sun Zenith are here to help tie the room together. Agatha's Soul Cauldron, also just a banger. Many of the things that we just talked about, the sack outlets and all the mana dorks in the deck, these are all activated abilities. Walking Ballista, a spicy one to have under an Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Grist the Hunger Tide, a spicy one to have under a Soul Cauldron. This deck has fair, grindy Jund stuff, and it has various combos. Hopefully, when the opponent is worried about one of the two aspects of the deck, they're losing to the other. And that's the goal here. This is a really classic Modern deck, something we might have seen in 2011 or 2012, and it's been updated with present-day sensibilities. I'm excited to play this. Let's do it. I'm proud to announce the Gold Sabertooth Strikes Back Kickstarter. Until October 22nd, you can back the project for access to 10 playmats from one of Magic's favorite community artists. He's bringing back fan favorites Kinnan, Etali, Kenrith, and Urza in new fuzzy and foil treatments, plus 6 new mats featuring Amulet Titan and Eldrazi, plus 4 more to be voted on by you, the backers, which Gold Sabertooth will draw live on stream every Monday. Get 18 classic Gold Saber tokens available in foil for the first time. Get involved in the voting and claim your rewards by using my link in the video description to back the Gold Sabertooth Strikes Back Kickstarter today. I'm on the draw in round 1. Opponent has kept 7. I have some mana to develop. I'll keep this. I have a Finks and a sack outlet. I don't have an infinite thing yet. Oh, okay. Looks like we're playing against Affinity. Might have to go infinite here, depending on how hard they pop off. Claws of Gix, hell yeah. Just anything that costs 0. Put it in the pile. Thoughtcast, crazy looking Thoughtcast. That could have been worse, honestly. 2 drones and a Thoughtcast. I'll take it. Awkwardly, my hand does have 2 functional tap lands. Mortuary comes into play tapped, and Dried Arbor comes into play with Summoning Sickness. I'm going to get myself an Underground... I was about to say Underground Sea. Overgrown Tomb. Underground Sea, not featured in this deck or format. Got a Delighted Halfling here, and I'll pass. Opponent's got Weapons Manufacturing. Whenever an artifact you control enters, create a colorless munitions token, and when that token leaves the battlefield, deal 2 to any target. That's really scary. They need a way to sacrifice this somehow. It doesn't just die on its own. Oh, right. They have the Claws of Gix. This is the Shuhei Nakamura, I believe, played this at the Pro Tour. Yeah, this is almost a hard lock against my deck, actually, if they can keep artifacts flowing. Well, game on. Hard mode immediately. I'll take it. Get the underground mortuary in here. I will take the stomping ground. Mana's gonna hurt, but we do what we can. I don't think I can shove this carrion feeder straight in, though it does cost them an artifact to do these things, so I guess I am going to try to pressure their permanence. If they have to play an artifact, make a munitions, then sack the munitions. We know they have a emissary and warp, though there's at least one artifact that can play this turn. Another manufacturing, that's disgusting. Pithing Needle, alright, yeah, naming carrion feeder. That's a fun card to just have in your hand in the main deck. We got an uphill climb here, but I'm ready for it. Already checking my sideboard for what I have for a matchup like this. There's some Force of Vigors. Cindervines probably comes in. Damping Sphere, not bad. Do I have a Collector Roof in my main deck? I do not. I am a Soul Cauldron Walking Ballista deck. I don't get to play Collector Roof. Got it. Okay, they name Carrion Feeder, get some weapons to manufacture. Or munitions. Manufactured munitions with their weapons. I can't block these things. Okay, is there a 3-drop that can help me out of this situation? Probably not. Outland Liberator is not bad. I could just like play Kitchen Finks and try to get sticky. Oh, Carrion Feeder can't block, so I'm attacking. And the munitions can deal their damage to anything, which means me being at 13 life, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage just face up. I will invest in the Finks. Old school, modern Magic. I was playing a lot of block in Standard when Kitchen Finks was new, and boy howdy, this card feels good to cast. Modern kind of passed it by, but this was a multi-format staple for a while. Just the rate on this thing, so nice. Alright, Kappa makes 2 more munitions. This is horrific. Alright, I don't think I can win this game anymore. Okay, Cindervines comes in. Force of Vigors come in. Fatal Push and Thoughtseize are interesting, because in a way, this Affinity deck feels like more of a combo deck than it does an aggro deck. Though there are aspects of both. I don't think I need Endurance or Gaia's Blessing for this matchup. These cards are both designed to help you just not deck out when you're going infinite. I think I can shave Safehold Elite a little bit because I'm going to slow down. Safehold Elite is just a reliable persist creature you can have on the cheap. But if the game has to slow down and I have to play control anyway, I can do a little less of that. I have 3 Zeniths that can get Elite and Finks. Grist seems kind of mid here. I'll leave 1 in because it's a powerful tutor target and good with Soul Cauldron, but this game is not going to be about killing a creature slowly over 2 turns. And maybe I just stop here. I don't need all my Thoughtseizes. It's not like I'm dying on turn 0, but when you run out of cards to cut, just stop sideboarding. I don't want to make my deck worse. Okay, let's get it. Sideboarding should make your deck better, not worse. Alright, I have none of the cards I wanted, but I do have my entire combo I'm going to keep. Alright, Stomping Ground, Delighted Halfling. This is a turn 3 infinite life, and with Spymaster's Vault, it's a turn 4 draw my deck and kill them with Goblin Bombardment. This connives equal the number of creatures that died this turn, and if I'm going infinite, then infinite creatures have died. That's just how the deck works. Ooh, a slow start from the opponent. Kind of needed that. Dump to Kappa. I think here I want to play the Finks, and I don't want them to know where I'm going with everything else. Like I can play Finks this turn and then go Grumgully, Carrion Feeder, Infinite Life next turn. If they tap out, they're cooked. Overgrown Tomb, because I need a Swamp for Spymaster Vault. Finks get some of that shock land life back, and I have exactly enough to go off next turn. Munitions Manufacturing. Okay. They would need Subtlety here. Like, even Force Negation doesn't interact with my important cards. Spymaster Vault, Grumgully uncounterably, Carrion Feeder. I'm going to attack for 3 before I gain Infinite Life. Get my taste where I can get it. And I have to do some clicking now. In paper, I would just declare I have an infinitely large creature and infinite life and pass the turn, but on Magic Online, you do actually have to pick a number to stop at. Luckily, I can set stops for all of these priority passes, and it's a pretty smooth combo to execute. I played a Lauren on the channel a little while back, and there were a lot of comments that were like, why aren't you playing Acererak the Arclich? It's a 1-card combo with a Lurin, and it's because it's literally impossible to click through it on Magic Online. You basically have to go through a dungeon, like the whole way through a dungeon, just to drain your opponent for 1, and then you have to do that 20 times with Acererak. And each room of the dungeon is like 3 clicks, because like there's the dungeon trigger, the room trigger, and also bouncing Acererak itself is multiple clicks. That has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now, but here I am talking about it. Got to talk about something to fill the air. So I want a like pretty messed up life total, and I want a lethal carrion feeder before I pass the turn here. I have one of those things. 60 is a lot of life, but I do believe this deck's capable of dealing 60. I also value my time on this earth, though, so I'm not going to like go to 1,000 here. I'm really not worried about the game clock. I have 20 minutes, and we're about to go into game 3. 75 feels like a good arbitrary life total to stop at. And I do have exactly enough mana to activate the Spy Vault next turn, which can draw cards until I find Goblin Bombardment and then deal infinite damage to my opponent. All right, they're doing some stuff here. Emissary, munitions being made, Pithing Needle. Okay, so I don't have infinite stuff anymore. I'll respond by making some more life. That actually is a little bit of a bummer, because now I can't Spymaster Vault my deck out, but I do still have a 33 power creature in play. I'm going to go to 100 life. Interesting psychological experiment, or not really experiment as much as observation. There was a infinite Elves token combo available in Shadowmoor Limited. There was like an aura you could put on a specific creature and then untap it infinite times with Presence of Gond. And my friend had that in a sealed deck at a Grand Prix. And I saw him execute the combo once while I was birding his game, and he was like, I'm going to make 100 elves. And I would have said like 1 billion elves. And I guess it's like people who think enough is enough, or what your concept of a big number is. I don't know. Maybe it means nothing at all. All right, I have 101 life. All right, these drones can only block flyers, and this Pinnacle Emissary is about to leave the battlefield because it was warped. This Carrion Feeder is still a problem for them. They would need some kind of bounce spell or different blocker. All right, are we just wasting time here? They got to have something, right? Or no, they just wanted me to use my clock. Okay, whatever. Sweet. All right, we took turns just jamming back and forth on each other. On the draw, do I find Thoughtseize more or less important? Probably more. Malevolent Rumble is so powerful. It's just one of these glue cards that as you're looking through your sideboard, you're like, do I really need 4 of those? And the answer is, yeah, probably. I could cut a Melira, or Grumgully I think is worse than Melira, just for efficiency of tutoring it with the Zenith or Eldritch Evolution. Though I do think Grumgully is way more fun. It's also more fun to say. All right, we're on the board. My third Thoughtseize is in now. Let's do it. I have Thoughtseize. I can Zenith for Dryad Arbor. How many lands are in here? I know it's a responsible land count. There's 21. I'm going to keep. I do need a second land to be happy with my life here, but having 2 sideboard cards in my opener with a combo payoff and a tutor, I'm willing to take my chances. Opponent has mulled to 5. I hope this is a slow 5 and not a fast 5. Fast 5, one of the greatest movies ever made, by the way. I'm not kidding. Greatest action movies, anyway. Good. I drew the land that you never ever want to see in your entire life. All right, I'm going to Thoughtseize them. They shocked in Steam Vent, so they clearly have something. I'm going to hope it's like Galvanic Blast and not Spell Pierce. Overgrown Tomb. This is why we boarded this card in. I'm not going to wait to cast it. Galvanic Blast, look at that. The soul reads. I think I want to take Emery out of this hand because it's the action spell. And my Zenith currently doesn't do anything. Galvanic Blast taking out Dryad Arbor is not pretty, but I'm signed up for a slow game here. They committed Engineered Explosives for 1 to the board. Got a lot of removal over there. Come on, land. Uh-oh. Well, They can completely nuke my board next turn if they want to, but I'm going to put out the cards I have. Got to do something. All right, well, I can feed that to the Carrion Feeder. Dryad Arbor counts as Carrion. Big moment of truth. Hell yeah. All right, Agatha's Soul Cauldron is the play here over Zenith because they're going to have to explode my Carrion Feeder anyway. And I would strongly prefer that they don't take a Mana Dork with them for free. I'll exile that Emery to push damage. I want them to feel like they have to do stuff here. I could have exiled Dryad Arbor to have an extra green mana this turn, but having 1 green mana doesn't help me. Explosive for 2, alright. If I draw a land here, it's actually huge, because I have Outland Liberator in my deck. There's also Cindervines in my hand if I can access red, which I cannot. Okay, so they're going to blow up Soul Cauldron first, probably. If I exile Dryad Arbor, I can cast Sphinx this turn. I could also Zenith for 2. Zenith for 2 walks into the Explosives for 2. Yeah, these curved out engineered explosives are doing the job. What do I have? Yeah, that Outland Liberator. Unfortunate that I don't have a mana to go with it. Alright, I'll exile Dryad Arbor. Let Carrion Feeder tap for mana. Why isn't this working? Creatures you control with +1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Dryad Arbor is a creature. Tapping for green is an activated ability. I think we might be experiencing a bug here. Okay, well, that's super annoying. I guess I'm attacking for 4, and I will submit my bug report, but this should be able to tap for green. I am fairly confident. If there's some weird rules hole where that for some reason doesn't work because, I don't know, like the game doesn't recognize it as a creature in exile, or it doesn't recognize Forest as a creature with an activated ability in exile, I don't know. I don't know why that would happen, but it's wrong. Another Thoughtseize. All right, well, Thoughtseize you. What's over there? They missed a land drop last turn, so we know it's spells. I'll take Lava Spur Boots. Their hand is Mox Opal. And I'm going to attack. I think we're going to see the Explosives for 1 here, because they can't just take 4 forever. That has occurred. And pass the turn. I wish they were taking 3 from Kitchen Finks right now. Bauble. Opal. I think it's weird to play out the Opal here, because we know their deck has Emissary in it. That's kind of like the whole thing of their deck. I'm going to exile Lava Spur Boots. They have Emery, so we know they can recur some graveyard stuff. Okay, we're back in business. Cindervines dies to Explosive Sun 2. Alright, I think I just Zenith for a Mana Dork here. I could also just play Finks and get the beats coming. That sounds actually really good with them at 11. Get in their Kitchen Finks. I can also give Kitchen Finks all the abilities of Emery, Dryad Arbor, and Carrion Feeder, except not Dryad Arbor, because the game is confused. I've been bobbled from Hellbent to 2 fresh cards in their grip. I'm going to exile the Bauble from their graveyard. If they're holding on to this Engineered Explosives, thinking there's something better coming, then, alright, cool. Like, I didn't want to exile the Carrion Feeder and convince them it's time to act, if they were thinking they were going to hold on to that. I'm going for Cindervines. I just really love this card, and I haven't cast it in a long time. This is whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, they take 1, and I can sack this to destroy target artifact or enchantment, and that artifact or enchantment's controller takes 2. This is just passive damage in a spot where I'm pretty into passive damage. And while I do think Boseiju is a useful card in the matchup, I would rather have some mana. Give me that Delighted Halfling, and let's pass. They are very close to dead, just from incidental damage. And like I said in the deck tech, we had a combo game, and now we're having a fair game. Weapons Manufacturing, ding ya. Down to 7. I have 6 damage on board. I have 4 power of attackers, and I can sack the Cindervines. All right, yeah, cool. Okay, we got clowned on the draw, and then we clowned them on the play, and then we had an actual interesting back-and-forth game. However, they did mull to 5 and get Thoughtseize twice, but Thoughtseize out of the sideboard. Feels good. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round number 2. Rumble Cauldron can get a lot going. I'm going to keep this. Not excited to see this Gaia's Blessing here. But even that's a cantrip. I'm just going to play Commercial District. The alternative would be fetching for the black one, but it's all the same here. I'm casting a green spell. I actually will leave Boseiju on top because I'm planning on playing one of them for mana at some point, and having Boseiju around is good. There are also matchups where just having 2 Boseijus is dope. Meticulous Archive. Blue-White Control recently top-8'd the Modern Pro Tour. That is a possible thing that might happen. I'm going to send the Rumble here. Outland Liberator, land. Liberator is a creature for Soul Cauldron. Sure. It's also just a creature that can attack. And if my opponent has Orum's Chant in their deck, okay, it is the Blink deck, so I should expect Thalia here, which is kind of a shame, because that card's really good. Outland Liberator can destroy Overlord of the Baelmerk, though. Alright, Outland Liberator's going in. Subtlety. Pitching Consign to Memory. That's aggressive and really interesting. That probably means that they have Thalia plus Overlord, and Boseiju can blow out the Overlord. Do I want this Liberator? I don't think so. I'm going to put it to the bottom. I am going to leave up Boseiju, though. My goodness. What a surprise. Another surprise. Who could have known? Psychic Frog, Quantum Riddler, Subtlety. Lots of bangers over there. Subtlety's in their hand. I'm going to let them attack first and target the Overlord. Unfortunately, the timing doesn't work to let me block. There's a Sewer and a Backstreet. A lot of selection from these lands. But we did at least collapse the starting engine here. I could get a lot of control of their graveyard here. Like, I could Gaia's Blessing some of their stuff away. I could play Soul Cauldron. I could just shove Yawgmoth right now before they have mana to Subtlety. I think I kind of want to go for that. Because if they kill Yawgmoth, that is something I can use with Soul Cauldron. That costs them 2 cards, where next turn it would have been a 2-for-1 instead of a 1-for-2. Emperor of Bones. Alright, well, I'm going to get Overlorded anyway here. Yeah, taking control of their graveyard would have stopped this. Tried to play around what I knew instead of what I didn't know. They picked up Overlord. No, it picked up Subtlety. Can't pick up Overlord. They're going to get 2 more this round. The attack trigger, and then also the pickup trigger. Teferi in hand. And this is an identified thing. I did talk to Toolbox Hero quite a bit about building this deck. We worked on it together. Ooh, Hydroelectric Specimen. Someone's got lands they can pick up with Overlord. I did talk quite a bit about, can we get Thoughtseize and Fatal Push in the main? And the answer was pretty much no. Not with the whole toolbox, but a Fatal Push would have completely changed that game. Alright, Thoughtseize and Fatal Push, welcome to the game. Torpor Orb is literally for this matchup. Safe Hold Elite, always safe to chop. Endurance is pretty okay here. Grist can get grindy. I think I can go minus a Grumgully. If I'm shaving on combo stuff, a Goblin Bombardment can go too. Torpor Orb stops me from gaining infinite life, but it doesn't stop me from doing all the other stuff, like having an infinitely large creature. Outland Liberator was scary enough they wanted to interact with it. I might go another Grumgully and just focus on getting low with Melira if this happens at all. This is just a lot of cards to bring in a combo deck. I could go -1 mana Dork, and I'm going to Shape Blessing. I don't think I'm going to need to go through my deck twice here. At least I hope not. Okay, I like my hand. Keep it. I'll start the game at 16 to impact your hand. Consign Thalia, Subtlety, Teferi. I think I care the most about Thalia here. All of those cards have interaction points. That doesn't mean I have to respect them all equally. Dumped an Ephemerate. Thanks. Okay. I have Melira, Kitchen Finks, and Yawgmoth here. This can draw my deck and gain infinite life. I just have to figure out how I'm sequencing all these items. I'll have 4 mana next turn. I could just shove Yogg and demand the subtlety, but Teferi could just play and bounce the Yogg. That's not very good. Do I want to develop Melira here or Rumble? I think I want to play Melira. It's on the board. If they subtlety here, it's 2 cards. And Melira lets me double spell next turn. If they subtlety and I put it on top, I can go draw Melira, Rumble, cast Melira. They can counter a persist trigger with Consign to Memory. That has to be noted. Interesting. All right, land 4 has arrived, which means I can just curve out into this. And if they don't react, they're in trouble. But 1 Consign on the persist breaks up my combo. That's Shock Godless Shrine. There's 2 unknowns in the hand. Is it Solitude plus? All right, it is not Solitude plus Ephemerate. I've got a Finks in play and Melira's dead. 1 mana interaction, you gotta respect it. 3 mana up when I know they could have cast Teferi. So they're worried about some other stuff. Torpor Orb gets consigned as well. I'm just gonna go to combat. Come get some. Opponent's at 14. I have this durable body in Kitchen Finks. Malevolent Rumble. Okay, there's a Torpor Orb there. That could flush out the consign. I'll take it. And I have red cards in my deck still, so I should get Stomping Ground here. They have Teferi that could bounce this, or they could just consign it now, but I am worried about consign breaking up my combo later. They even have the mana to play Teferi, bounce this, hold up consign again, but then Teferi dies to Finks, and I have the second orb that they don't know about. All right, yep, there's that. That's fine. We're working through it. No. That is the best card in their deck. I did what I could to interact with that, but here it is again. So they can go Teferi, bounce Finks, Felia, flicker Teferi. Yeah, that's gross. Elf Fountain's tapped. They could also delete my spawn, but I think resetting Teferi is better for them. Yep, there it goes. Okay, Teferi comes back. That can now bounce every turn, while Felia gets steadily larger. Eldritch Evolution's interesting. That doesn't get countered by Subtlety. If I resolve Torpor Orb, they could just spam out Subtlety. But if Torpor Orb's in play, Subtlety doesn't counter my creature, but I also don't gain 2 life. How important is that to me? Not very, is the answer. Yeah, this Teferi is pretty close to a hard lock, though. Alright, I'm going to play Finks. And I guess I'll Torpor Orb, even though it's not even good anymore, because Teferi plus Felia has me covered. Yeah, this Felia, I could beat everything they were doing except for the card Felia. Clarion Conqueror is the reason Crawl Harpooner is in the sideboard, but I did not bring it in. Alright, GG. I can't get out of this. Felia, my nemesis. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 3. As always, Dryad Arbor glued to my opening hand. I still think this hand is good, though. I'm still rampant, still doing stuff. I will summon this Delighted Halfling. Opponent is on 6 cards in hand. An island. That's usually a good sign for Delighted Halfling. Oh, is this Affinity? Who is main decking Tormod Script? Okay, they're definitely showing me Metallic Rebuke right now. What is the card I care the least about getting rebuked? Probably Safehold Elite. I don't have a legend to cast here. Yeah, they're kind of on use it or lose it here. The Outland Liberator is what I'm really looking for in whatever this matchup is. I also didn't really want to rumble straight into that Tormod Script. Another Halfling. All right, Outland Liberator. Let's start there. That resolved quickly. I could just take out Urza Saga. I could see if they have a spell. I could tap them out on their turn. All right, I'm actually just going to develop here. I think having mana with this handful of Zeniths is more important than clipping off these constructs. Like, I don't actually care that much about constructs, and if they hold up the ability to make constructs, the Liberator might flip, and then they're just roasted. Oh yeah, they're scooping. They can't get through nighttime. Okay, sweet. Just basic sequencing about a telegraph or counterspell is what happened there. They are clearly some sort of affinity deck. Cindervines, Force of Vigor. Do I want Thoughtseize? Have I seen enough to be interested in that card? I could do the usual shaves here. All decks get slower after sideboard. That's just how Magic the Gathering works. All right, here we go. Send it in. Okay, only a mono black ETB tap land here. This is a mulligan. Here we go. This has 2 enablers and 2 payoffs. I just need a Melira. I could get rid of Halfling and focus on just developing normally, because I have a 1-drop here. All right, I think Halfling's got to go. As much as I like ramping mana, I like redundancy in my combo too. My opponent went to 5. That's not very many cards. Steam Vents. This is so much less scary with 3 cards in hand than 7. All right, enjoy. How many drones we got? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 1 short of Kappa Cannoneer. Thoughtcast. All right, Kappa Cannoneer might still happen if they go Bauble. Second Bauble would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they need an actual blue mana to cast Kappa, though. I'll admit I don't fully remember how Improvise works in this moment. I'm going to get a Overgrown Tomb and summon Carrion Feeder. They have an Emissary and Warp. Thoughtcast, still 2 mana Thoughtcast. They've undone their mulligan here at the cost of 2 turns of development. But there are some drones laying around. Wow, they missed on a land, which means if I can kill a drone, they're actually off Metalcraft. I don't think this is something I can actually do, though. All right, I'm going to get Stomping Ground and summon Safehold Elite. And I'm going to attack for 1. I could have used Goblin Bombardment to kill a drone, but if I do that, then I don't have Carrion Feeder anymore, and if they just play like Mishra's Bauble or Tormod's Crypt from their hand, they're back in business. All right, another Emissary. How far are we going down the hole? Springleaf Drum. Black in the pool. Am I getting Thoughtseized? Or are you just tapping at random because it doesn't matter? All right, I take 2 here. Can't block flyers. Their Emissary warped out. They are showing Metallic Rebuke right now. Mana that can cast Kitchen Finks. Or I can play Goblin Bombardment and kill 2 drones. That doesn't seem super helpful, though. All right, Kitchen Finks to gain 2, which could gain another 2 whenever I want, pretty much. I also have to respect the possibility of Counterspell. I think I want Bombardment more than I want Finks, if Counterspell is what they have. I'll get my basic Forest. Oh, that should have been basic Swamp. I had double green already, and I have Yawgmoth in my hand. That was a mistake. A Counterspell. Calciprese. Attack for 3. If I draw Melira, they're just dead. But I am otherwise behind. I'm not winning this damage race. And their deck has Galvanic Blast in it. And if they're the munitions build, that's another way to deal damage. Shadow Spear. That doesn't change the clock. Okay, so this is where we ask ourselves, what cards could be in the hand of an affinity player that missed their land drop and didn't dump stuff out? And it's probably Counterspells is the answer. Because I fetched poorly, I don't have access to Yogg here, which would actually stabilize the game while drawing me 3 cards. Good job, me. Goblin Bombardment. This can also stabilize the game, if it resolves. Oh, we're in there. Didn't expect that. I'm going to attack for 3, and I'll play the other Carrion Feeder. Right now, Bombardment's job is to kill these drones. If they try to equip Shadow Spear, I'll ping. I don't want to go into burn range right now, which means I can't take 2 damage this turn. Okay, Bombardment, sack Safehold Elite, which does turn off Melira as a draw because now this has persisted. But it does keep me alive a little longer. Ping, ping. Can I go to 5? I think 5's okay. They can just cast these emissaries from exile. Yeah, there's one. All right. They're figuring it out. And now Shadow Spear actually is a problem. Is this a human? It's a robot. Soul Cauldron. That gives my creatures the abilities of Carrion Feeder, which they do not need. That does let me Safehold Elite again, though. Target Carrion Feeder with Soul Cauldron. Put a +1 counter on Safehold Elite, which cancels out the -1 counter on it. Now it's back to doing stuff. Ooh, they have Dismember. Interesting. I can make Carrion Feeder bigger. I'm taking 4/5. I guess I have to kill the drone. I don't get to make Carrion Feeder bigger. I could have attacked them to 4, but that's not lethal. If I sack this, I attack for 2. I ping them for 1. Yeah, still not lethal. The Shadow Spear is about to get them well out of range. Yeah, not fetching my swamp 3 turns ago just cost me this game. Force of Vigor could still potentially stabilize. Level and Rumble. Oh, let's take a spin. I could hit something messed up for Soul Cauldron here. Oh no, there's Melira. We were so close, team. This has Trample and Lifelink. Melira can be 3/3. Right. I am deceased. That was a close one. Brought to you by me messing up. Alright, same deck, going back in. This is way too slow for this matchup. I am gonna mulligan. Here's that Dryad Arbor again. Always happy to see you, little fella. Though Dryad Arbor is green. Okay, in this case, I am keeping this hand, and I'm not bottoming Dryad Arbor. I think I'm bottoming Swamp. Red cards in my deck are 3 Bombardment, 1 Grumgully. Or did I cut a Bombardment? 2 Bombardment, 1 Grumgully. And Grumgully can be cast off Halfling. I'm just figuring out if I can fetch Overgrown Tomb. I will keep and bottom this Swamp. Overgrown Tomb coming your way. Hot and ready. Soporific Springs, fun. Explosives X equals 1. That could do stuff, but not really, because Soul Cauldron can give my creatures the abilities of... Alright, no, it can't. I could Force of Vigor now. I could Force of Vigor anytime. That's the cool thing about Force of Vigor. Alright, I am going to play Spymaster Vault and Soul Cauldron. I know I could make this uncounterable, I just don't think they're going to counter it. And now I can attack for 1. A Bauble. Saga. I could destroy Saga and Explosives right now, and they won't be able to activate Explosives. I'll do that. The Saga doesn't make mana yet. It could counter this, but that would also tap them out of Explosives for the turn. Though, I am running out of juice, so I kind of want this to resolve. Alright, that was a good exchange. Springleaf Drum, you got it. And I am going to start beating up their graveyard because of Emery considerations. Come on, Yogg or something really nice. Alright, that's not what I wanted. I will play around the counterspell, even though I don't think they have it, because they didn't counter my Force of Vigor. I should have tapped Stomping Ground for that. It's the same thing, except now I can't Spymaster Vault. That was... Okay, so 2 mana fumbles in this match so far. The mana is not as free as I thought. Explosives for 0 instead of 1. They must be trying to get something going. Yeah, like a Thoughtcast or a Kappa Cannoneer. That makes sense. Yeah, that's crazy. Engineered Explosives on 1 kills everything I have going on, and they still would rather have Affinity. Alright, double Thoughtcast, pretty good development turn. I'll exile Urza's Saga. I don't know if they're using that, but I'll take it. Bobbling me in the upkeep. What am I drawing? Rumble. That card's really good. This damage chip shot is not as important to me as being able to do stuff on the back end. Okay, well, a big miss, but I will take Boseiju, I suppose. And I will attack for 1. Alright, so they know I have Boseiju now. I can connive 1 by sacking my spawn, then activating Spymaster Vault. It connives equal number of creatures that died this turn. Right, the 3rd Thoughtcast. I'm definitely behind. I think it's safe to say. They found their 2nd land out here on turn 4. Alright, there's the manufacturing. Oh, Explosives on 0 blows up all of the dum-dums. Yeah, I'm going to destroy manufacturing before they get a single munitions out of it. I hate ramping them here when they've been struggling so bad, but I think that's correct. Pinnacle Emissary. 3 cards left right now. Bauble. Bauble. Yeah, this manufacturing would have been just 8 damage in the vault. Ooh, Soul Cauldron. This might help, or Emery might help me off Soul Cauldron. You've got a Kappa Cannoneer. Can juice up my graveyard now, or my creatures. I'll take that Kappa. It doesn't have any abilities, but I can make my things bigger. We're getting there. A Bobbling me. Kitchen Finks. We grow closer to combo. How do I do this? Is there a way that I can play Finks and leave up Vault. No, because I only have 2 green. All right, I can't do this any kind of way, so I will just do it in the most simple way. And Delighted Halfling is bigger than all their stuff combined right now, so I'll attack for 2. My mighty 2/3 ruling the battlefield. Bonus at 9 life. All right, bobbling me. So they have 2 redraws coming. Emissary from Warp. I do need to get an engine going. I'm not really going to beat them on board. Warped an Emissary after casting an Emissary from Warp. This is the go wide strat in full effect. Here comes a Kappa. All right, I got to make something happen very quickly, and it has to happen through a Tormod script. Yeah, that's a lot of that. Confirmed that you do need a blue source to start Kappa Cannoneer. A blue source and 5 artifacts does it, but you can't tap a blue artifact. But Convoke, you can tap a green thing for a green pip on Court of Calling. All right, they did not bother using the Emery, which is correct because it's not going to help you. I'll start exiling Emery objects. Thoughtseize, yeah, not that useful. What I can do is attack with Finks, sack spawn, connive 2. All right, I think I'm going to do that. They might just let it through, but they also just probably should not. But attacking with Finks. Life total's pretty low here. While trading, you have a 5/5. Deal. Persist trigger. If they crypt me in response, I can feed it to Soul Cauldron. I can also connive for 3 right now. All right, I am not going to feed this to Soul Cauldron. Okay, the persist eats poo. And then sack my spawn, connive 3 onto the smaller halfling. Okay, Thoughtseize, Ignoble Hierarch, Delighted Halfling get discarded here. And then I'll cast Grumgully. All right, red, green, can't be countered. All right, Grumbler is in. I'm under serious pressure, but now I am approaching a combo. That Spymaster's Vault was nice. Now they should use Emery to get my Soul Cauldron tied down, because I'm going to give all my creatures Delighted Halfling's abilities or Ignoble Hierarch's abilities if they don't. Warped another Emissary. All right. They've been quite good at drawing emissaries. There's still one in Warp. This is a bunch of counters on Kappa. Ooh, not interested. Okay, they did just enough to make Kappa unblockable, but not enough to kill me. They could be holding up mana for a counter, or they could just have forgotten that's over there. All right, I'm going to exile Ignoble Hierarch and put a counter on Grumgully in the end step. Now all my creatures have Ignoble Hierarch's abilities. Melira, that's another Grumgully. That's not what I needed. It is an uncounterable legend. None of these 5/1/1s attacked. I guess I'm dead on board next turn, so they're going to be fine here. Oh, I can just attack with everything, and then they have to block some of them. And then I can connive and see what happens. All right, I guess I'll attack with everything and see how this goes. I have to attack with enough that it scares them into blocking. But unfortunately, there's just no sequence here where it'll be enough. Pushing 1 more damage through doesn't matter. Conniving 2 might matter. All right, targeting Tormod script. That's not an instant, but okay. Spymaster Vault onto the smaller halfling. I don't even know what I could hit here. Grist. Grist is still not a hit. Dang it. Or nope, it might be. Hold on. I'll discard Grist and land. So all my creatures will have the activated abilities of Grist in a second. But 5, 6, yeah, they still have all this unblockable damage, and I don't have Ward 4 to get through the Kappa Cannoneer. Can I kill enough drones? So 6, this is exactly 11. They play Pinnacle Emissary. It's 11 again, even if I kill a drone. But I don't think a fetch land's going to help me. I will exile Grist from my graveyard. That was almost exciting. Oh, do they have an out to the Soul Cauldron as well? All right, GG's. Cool. All right, yeah. Took this matchup down once and then lost to it the other time. That was a really tight match for a little while. There was a time where I was slightly ahead and nobody had anything really going on, and then they cast 3 Thoughtcasts and that wasn't true anymore. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables. I'm on the draw in round 4. I'm going to keep my hand, does a lot of cool stuff. Opponent's on a mold of 5. I'm going to get my halfling going. I should have checked last round if I could have tapped my Grumgully for mana because of that Dried Arbor issue earlier in the league, which I have submitted for reimbursement for. My thoughts, they're probably going to take Soul Cauldron because their deck doesn't function around it. Though my hand is really good. Soul Cauldron and Grist are both. Like, you can't take Grist or Yogg because then I just Soul Cauldron and give my creatures that ability. If they have 2 Thoughtseizes or 2 pieces of interaction, or like Force of Negation plus Thoughtseize, then you could take one of the creatures. Ooh, the Grumbler. I think I'd rather have Grist going right now than the Grumbler. Overgrown Tomb. That could have been anything because I have the Halfling, but I might not have the Halfling later. I milled a Verdant Catacombs and pass. And they don't want to play anymore. Mull to 5, Thoughtseize, see a handful of bangers, and they're out. Okay, so this looks like the Esper Blink deck. That is that Felia strategy again. Crawl Harpooner. Respect the Clarion Conqueror, which I didn't last time. That's not why I lost, but I was heavily losing anyway when that card was revealed. Okay, Bombardment, Grumgully. Endurance matters, but I think with 3 Soul Cauldrons, we just got to do what we can. I feel like I might be being uncreative by just boarding out the same package of cards every round, but they really do appear to be the cards that are flexible, where a lot of the stuff is not. I don't know if Walking Ballista is strictly necessary either, though that is also an answer to some creatures. All right, I guess I gotta leave that one. Grumgully, excitingly, puts an extra counter on Ballista. You can cast it for 0 and get 1. You can cast it for 2 and get 2 counters, like 2 mana, and get 2 counters. Or you can actually answer a Felia in a reasonable time frame. And 2 more cuts. I don't want to make any more cuts. Maybe 1 feeder and the Hierarch. Having an infinitely large creature versus the deck full of bounce, like Felia just flickering out my Fella, is so bad. Okay, this hand is very good against Felia. Water the Grave, good chance this is a Thoughtseize. Good chance it takes my Thoughtseize. A common play pattern where we both just kind of agree to let each other play Magic involuntarily. I will get the Dried Arbor. For the first time in all of my life, it's not in my hand. This has never happened before. Wow, it feels pretty good. Another Thoughtseize. This is going to strip the Fatal Push. Alright, well, now the coast is clear for Felia again. We're back. Ooh, coast is not clear for Felia. I could resolve Bombardment and attack for 1. I could resolve Ballista for 1. No, I'd rather Ballista for 2 next turn. Yeah, I'll get a red land here, play Bombardment and attack for 1. Okay, so I can answer Felia next turn. Bogger Bog, tapped. Alright, Ballista for X equals 2. Reminding me why it's in the deck and why I shouldn't board it out. I'm ready for Felia. And there she is. I guess I could have also played Grist here and just pinged twice. Alright, I'm going to let Felia attack. It's going to target Walking Ballista, and then I'll ping Felia. This is the same thing, basically. 1 to Felia. I guess I should have done it end step, because now Ephemerate's live. Alright, I did mess that up, but I'm not getting punished for it. I should have just killed Felia when they didn't have Ephemerate up. Alright, Overlord can recover the Felia. There's also a Solitude there now. Felia is back, and I am ready to answer it. With the Bombardment, Grist. In my head, I briefly thought it made sense to Surveil first, but it freaking doesn't. Unless they're trying to set up an insect. Alright, well, This is all going to end up in the graveyard anyway. Yeah, that was very stupid. In my head, I was like, yeah, I'll do it like that. That makes sense, but it doesn't. Okay, Felia jumping in. Blocking is the same as pinging it. They're just saving a damage from what they know is the inevitable conclusion here anyway. All right, interesting game. We both have engines. Mine's a little better than theirs, but they can quickly turn the corner on that. We both have great draws in our deck. Witch Enchanter. All right, that's a start. Melira. All right, Grist. Build Eldritch Evolution. I'll go all in here. Here they are. Squad is assembled. Fatal Push Melira. The Rizzler at 1 card. Devastating. All right, Grist can take damage. Going ultimate with Grist is not really my plan. Another Melira. What will you do now, opponent? Probably just kill me with the other 800 cards that were just drawn. And they're not gaining life. I can put damage on them. They're at 10. If Grist's ultimate is actually threatening somehow, that's interesting. All right, well, there's Clarion Conqueror. I do play answers to that, but they're not currently in front of me. Overlord wakes up next turn. Rumble. All right, let's rumble. The spawn doesn't work, remember? Ah, Crawl Harpooner. You donkey. Like this technology? Pew, 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 pew. I'm the driving pooner. Stop trying to make it look fake. The tech showing up big immediately. And I'm actually going to attack with all of my creatures because now Grist Ultimate is a real threat. Oh, do you have another Felia? Why don't you settle down? All right, well, that sucks. All right, they're dropping blocking the little ones that don't end up in the graveyard. All right, I'm going to have to block here. Grist has 6 in the graveyard. I mean, this could happen. They might even have to just flicker out Grist to reset her loyalty. Clarion Conqueror number 2. I don't have a second Harpooner. The Miracle Tech showed up once. It's not going to show up again. Yeah, they can flicker out Eldrazi spawn, then it's just gone forever. All right, they're just not even doing that. Just going face here. Yeah, my permanents don't work anymore. Good attack. And Overlord comes back. They still have a Riddler in Exile. All right, GG's. Do I want to make any changes? We've seen multiple Clarion Conquerors, but I have my Fatal Push, Thoughtseize, and Crawl Harpooner all in there. Fulminator Mage is interesting here because their mana is kind of a mess, and if I can get Fulminator Mage under Soul Cauldron, that's pretty baller. I don't think I'm doing that, though. Sylvan Safekeeper. If it's not for this matchup, what matchup is it for? But I still don't want it, which is kind of a strange conundrum. Okay, this is my deck. Let's go get him. All right, it's my turn to Thoughtseize on turn 1. Keep. I have an attack for infinite lined up with my hand here, if I'm allowed to execute my strat. Thoughtseize you against this highly interactive deck. Felia, Conqueror, Wrath. Okay, so just their entire hand is insane against me. Can I win before Conqueror comes down? So next turn I play Melira. They play a land, I go to my turn, I play Melira. They play a land, I go to my turn, I play Zenith. Or no, I can Zenith to kill the Conqueror. All right, I just have to take Felia. Though my hand isn't that worried about Felia. Wrath of the Sky is pretty bad for me. All right, I think it has to be Felia, even though I don't like it. Both of our hands are very good here. But the cool thing about Green Sun Zenith is that it'll be back. All right, Shadowy Backstreet. Dump to Riddler. All right, now I can be a little more aggressive with my lands because I drew one that didn't come into play tapped. I'm going to use my mana most efficiently by getting the 2-drop in now. Oh, they drew Thoughtseize. Well, smell you later, Green Sun Zenith. Yep, that one's gone. Polluted Delta. I did not know about that card. Torpor Orb. Interesting. All right, I'm going to go Commercial District, Torpor Orb. Yogg. I'm so far away from casting this. I think I have to dump this. I just don't have double black again. All right, Torpor Orb is kind of mid in the face of Clarion Conqueror, but it does slow down a lot of what they're doing. It does get swept up in the Wrath with everything else. Bad news, team. Have you ever Thoughtseized a near perfect hand and then their next 2 draw steps were also perfect? I feel like this matchup's probably horrendous though, because all of their cards are just really good against all of my cards. All right, well, there's the mana for Yogg. I am not going to play Carrion Feeder into a board where it doesn't work. Flooded Strand. So they can Wrath for 2 here and clear out all my stuff, if they're even worried about it, which they probably aren't. It depends on how much they care about Torpor Orb. I'm sure they don't care about Melira. Yeah, that happens. Conqueror coming in. I have another Surveil land in my deck that I'll go for here. Mortuary. Don't need a Verdant Catacombs. Well, Zenith would be pretty sweet. Attack, please, why? Alright, I guess I'll play this card because I have it. Make them think about Endurance before attacking, I suppose. Emperor of Bones. Well, now I'm cooked. Well, they can't activate these cards. So they could, like, get Riddler and hit me for a bunch and cantrip. But Yawgmoth, leaving my graveyard, slows me down a little, but none of that matters until Conqueror is gone. And if they shoot out the Yawg, they can't use it. Yeah, alright. You got me. I am dead on the board. Clarion Conqueror, hell of a card. We have the Crawl Harpooner tech, and it even worked once, but still, very bad matchup. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round. I'm going to keep my hand. It has 2 Meliras, one of which I can't cast. This hand is not perfect, that's for sure, but I think we need a critical mass of just things to do. Opponent says, hi Bosh, hi YouTube. Everyone say hi to Cerulean Edict. This deck is a combo deck, but it's also a Jund deck. And if I can just present a bunch of like 3 power 3 drops, and maybe they have some extra text on them, maybe they don't, I'll take it for now. The interaction in this format is so efficient that I don't think a mull to 5 that has a straight line to the combo is good enough. Like, all the hands I've had this league that had straight lines to combo just floundered and failed. Crumbled to a Thoughtseize or a Fatal Push. Thundering Falls. Are we playing against this Affinity deck for the 3rd time this league, or are we doing something else? Oh, Artist Talent. Okay, so this is something else. I'll throw my Melira out there. My opponent did mull to 5, which is nice for me. So this might be a Ruby Storm. Sometimes they play Artist Talent. Arclight Phoenix is legal in this format. Grumgully Endurance can be a powerful payoff if this is a Ruby Storm style deck. Artist Talent. Alright, well, we're going to find out. Zenith. Interesting. Alright, what 2-drops can I Zenith for here that change things? I could get Outland Liberator and try to own the libs next turn. I guess I'm going to do that. Okay, Outland Liberator. Come in. Hopefully this convinces them to panic and do more than they need to, and that might walk them into a spot where Endurance does something. Yeah, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. This could be some spicy version of Dredge. I don't know, whatever it is, I hope Endurance does what it needs to do. Faithless Looting, off we go. Yeah, the discard draw, this is actually terrifying because the way that Artist Talent works is that the Dredger is never in the graveyard for me to Endurance. Like, the discard draw is all part of the same resolved thing. Okay, Creeping Chill, Dredge confirmed. Stinkweed Imp in hand. Lava Dart Conflagrate in the graveyard. Conflagrate can go for 3 right now, but then their whole life is in danger. It can go for 2 if they want an Artist Talent. If I don't have to pitch Endurance this turn, that's ideal, because then I can just cast it next turn and I actually get the guy. Okay, I am getting Conflagrated. They're leaving 1 card in the hand. They're blowing up my Liberator. Discarded Cathartic Reunion. Dredge Stinkweed Imp. There might have been a pressure point there, so right now their hand is Stinkweed Imp and no other cards. I was just going to say I would love to draw Boseiju. That would make my life very easy. And here we are. Okay, so I can leave them with Stinkweed Imp in hand and nothing going on. Alright, Boseiju, and I do control a legend. I'm doing this first because if they have Surveil lands in the deck, and we've seen at least 1, I would like to Endurance after that happens. Dumped a land. I'll attack with Melira. I'll play Ballista for 1. Just trying to do anything with what I got here. Endurance you. There's an Ox of Agonis in that graveyard. I just want that shit gone. A Stinkweed Imp, 1 unknown. Please don't be Cathartic Reunion. I guess you have to discard 2 for that one. Please don't be Thrill of Possibility. Okay, it's my turn. Another Grumbler. Can't really do anything except attack them. I have to hope that they fail from here on out. Just fail right to the deck. Lava Dart. F me. Alright, 1 to you. That could have been worse. Stomping Ground. Okay, hand is Stinkweed Imp. They're on a 4-turn clock. Lands are good, spells are good. Okay, there's a land. I'll attack for 2 first. And then, would I rather have Grumgully or Yawgmoth be part of this game? I already have Melira, who is a Grumgully, so I'm going to get Yawgmoth. But Grumgully hits harder. I don't have a Blood Crypt to get everything I need. I actually do have to decide here. I think it's Yawg. That gives me a bunch of wide open hits to draw my deck and win the game. The second Melira is not it. Okay, attack with the fellas. I could sack Melira to draw a card, knowing that I have another Melira. Okay, I actually am going to do that. Malevolent Rumble. This could play. Kitchen Finks. Oh, we're so close. All right, I will take the Finks and play the Finks. This could draw 2 more cards if I needed to. And I can go infinite next turn. However, they're just already dead to damage. If they have some discard draw effect, like Faithless Looting's not good enough here, but a Rummager is. Okay, Phoenix Dredge. They're doing it all. All right, attack me for 3, concede. Oh, interesting. You want to play it out? I'll play it out with you. Melira and attack with my creatures. What can they have here? Like Lightning Bolt? I'm just going to attack. They're dead to damage and they're dead to my combo. And they have to do something before anything else happens. Okay. Block die. I'll take it. Ashiok Game Ender. Love to see it. I don't really have a lot for this. Thoughtseize, actually pretty important. There are the Force of Vigors. We saw the Artist Talent be a big part of that game, but I have 2 Besejus and Zenith for Liberator, all as options. I think comboing out quickly is going to be part of this game, but I still think Safehold Elite is kind of the worst. And I'm actually going to cut both Grists because it is difficult for me to imagine this game getting to a spot where Grist activations are relevant. I could imagine a game where they've jump-started their engine and then I stopped it, but they are pretty far ahead on board, and Grist under Soul Cauldron could salvage a game. But with Soul Cauldron's Gaia's Blessing, Endurance, the Ashiok I just brought in, I think I have to believe that I can battle a graveyard deck pretty well. I'm going for it like this. I got my own combo. I have a bunch of graveyard hate. Try to get them from both directions. Soul Cauldron in the bank. I'll keep. The Artist Talent, once again, does play around Soul Cauldron. I kept 7 this time. Scary. They entombed a Thug. The Surveil will get a Thug right into the graveyard. Thugging it out. I will pass the turn. Are they ready to dredge yet? Or do they need draws? Alright, they are ready to dredge. Loam Thug looting in there. Artist Talent. Alright. Scary. They've got a lot of dredgers. Alright, Underground Mortuary. Don't need a Verdant Catacombs. Alright, I'm going to save myself some life getting basic forest here, and I'm going to play Soul Cauldron. I can't stop them from dredging. I can potentially bottleneck their payoffs. Creeping Chill is 3 damage. I have to let that one go. I could have exiled that to stop it, because that is part of the... It's exile it, then if you do. Faithless Looting from the graveyard. Yeah, it is my plan to fight over things like Ox of Agonis and Arclight Phoenix, rather than the Dredgers. Alright, I mean, that was pretty mediocre. They Creeping Chilled twice, Dredged Life from the Loam, missed on a second Dredger, and now they have to discard into Soul Cauldron. Alright, there's a Phoenix there who does not work right now. I am gonna exile the Phoenix, because they can Lava Dart. Oh, interesting. Do I want to just hit the Lava Dart? Lava Dart with Talent could just dredge, but it'll cost them a land, and we're past the Phoenix. Yeah, I'm going to go after Lava Dart, actually. I might be getting too clever for my britches, but it makes sense in my brain right now in this moment. And I have the Liberator. Let's just blow up that Talent before it does anything else. Interesting. All right. Passing the turn. Not going to fight over the Golgari Thug. God, there's 3 Arclight Phoenixes in the graveyard. Glad I exiled a Lava Dart last turn. But that might change the game. They need 2 spells out of their hand this turn. Life from the Loam is 1. We knew about that one. Wow, alright. We got through combat. Okay, end step. I could start working on the Phoenixes, or I could take the Lava Dart. I'm going to hit a Phoenix. I think less can go wrong that way. Second Soul Cauldron. I could spam these out. Like, it's legendary. I could hit a Phoenix, play the other Cauldron, and leave it untapped. And then also develop Melira. I actually kind of like that. I don't like how low my life total is. I'm in some trouble to a Conflagrate here. Exile Arclight Phoenix. Play a replacement Cauldron. Keep the new one. Melira. Alright, now I have half of the combo invested. If I rip Carrion Feeder off the top, I have infinite life. Steam Vents tapped in the end step. There's Loam and Stinkweed Imp in that graveyard right now. Oh, there's Conflagrate. Shit, I should have stopped in their draw step. Now I'm gonna lose. Damn it! Alright. That didn't occur to me. This is something you have to do here. If I had to stop in their draw step, I could exile Conflagrate, but now I'm just gonna die because they have 8 cards in their hand. God damn it. Alright. If they give me priority, but they're not going to. Alright. Yeah. Just didn't have a stop set. That sucks. Alright. I will set a stop in their draw step for game 3, but it's fine. It's fine. I still think this matchup is probably pretty good. Yeah, Dredge is weird in that regard because generally you know whether you want to act in their draw step or not, but Dredge, it depends entirely on what gets dredged by their draw. And that was just one of these things where if I had played against Modern Dredge more recently, I would have stopped in their draw step. I'm setting the stop right now so we can't make any mistakes again. Okay, no graveyard hate. I do have turn 2 Eldritch Evolution, if that matters. I have Finks. I'm actually going to keep this. Halfling, get in. Stomping Ground. Faithless Looting. If their graveyard's too scary, I can just evolve for an Endurance and reset them. Ox of Agonis, Stinkweed Imp. Ox escapes for 8 other cards. They'll have 5, 6. If they fetch at 7. That's not trivial to accomplish. If I play Finks now, I could Evo Finks into Endurance next turn. I could also get Yogg. I could get any card in my deck at that point. Alright, I gotta think about this Ox. It's 5, 6. Fetchland makes 7. How can they get a card into their graveyard? Street Wraith is a thing that they might have, but they flipped over their deck in game 1 and I didn't see that. Second Faithless Looting from hand, tax them out of the red. They would need to do that. Okay, I think I'm casting Finks this turn. I'm going to try to hold my horses for 1 round and then use my interaction. Alright, yeah. They dredged 6 cards in the graveyard, in addition to the Ox. They hit Arclight Phoenix and another Stinkweed Imp. That's not a fetch land. Life from the Loam, targeting Wood Foothills. Okay. They're on kind of a slow start. Big rips, Carrion Feeder for the win. No such luck. Alright. I think I'm going to attack for 4, then flip Finks into Endurance and just reset their development here. Attack with all my creatures. Shifting Woodland. Eldritch Evolution. Or do I need this Halfling anymore? I can get Endurance anyway. If I'm not getting Yogg, I might as well upgrade this guy. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. I'll get Endurance. Just reset you here. And 2-turn clock and reset your clock, your whole development. Hope that's good enough. There's a Wooded Foothills and a Stinkweed Imp in their hand that we know about. Alright, Conflagrate for 0. They could flashback Conflagrate, dealing 5, which does refill the graveyard and kill Endurance. But that's not exciting on its own. They need some other follow-up. If they discard like 2 Phoenixes and a Lava Dart, we suddenly have a game. Alright, Conflagrate's coming. Alright, yeah, none of the above. This was just getting 2 Dredgers in there at the cost of your whole hand. Thoughtseize. What's left over there? Let's find out. Thoughtseize you. Oh, I did know about that. Dang it. Dang it, Bobby. Alright, that was just bad. With no excuse. Ballista for 1. Every damage could matter here. Okay, they dredged an Arclight Phoenix into the graveyard. Their hand doesn't really do anything. If there's a black source in the deck, they could cast Stinkweed Imp. But that's a fetch shock situation to get that far. All right, Commercial District. Okay. I'm feeling good here. I'll get Underground Mortuary. Thoughtseize to my graveyard. Yes, please. All right, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're dead. Put a +1 counter on this. That's 5, 6, 7. All right. Scrappy little game versus Dredge to end the league. This was a fun deck. We paired against 2 repeats, which was kind of whack. Double Affinity, double Esper Frog. And I expect Esper Frog Velia stuff to be among the worst matchups for this deck. That's why there's 2 Torp Orbs in the sideboard. We're just trying to respect it any way we can. Still wasn't quite good enough. But the Affinity deck felt like a reasonable coin flip. We both have powerful nut draws. We both have moderate mid-game. If our nut draws don't pan out, split the games with them. And then versus Dredge, someone who's just trying to send it, our toolbox kicked in. The one of Endurance was huge. The one of Outland Liberator did a lot. Crawl Harpooner had a moment. Excited for that. This was a sweet deck. As, of course, like I'm not sure that it stacks up to the speed and precision of present-day Modern. Like I said in the deck tech, it feels like something we would have been doing in like 2012. But the thing is still powerful if it happens. I do wonder if... So I think that the 2 of the Safehold Elites and the Gaia's Blessing, you might just want those to be 3 Thoughtseize in the main. And like I said in the deck tech and in round 1, Toolbox Hero and I worked on this deck together and kind of came to the conclusion that you want to be consistent and resilient game 1 and then bring in interaction game 2 when you're these green toolbox decks. But having now played it, it basically never felt like I was just sprinting to my combo. I actually would be more interested in slowing this deck down a little bit. I think you could play 1 Safehold Elite and 1 Grumgully and no Gaia's Blessing, and that opens up 4 slots in the main where you could just put like 3 Thoughtseize and a Fatal Push in, or 3 Thoughtseize and another toolbox card. Like with the 2 Meliras, you don't need 2 Grumgullys as well. This is just a more expensive version of the same thing. I think that's where I would go with it. I don't know that we need 3 Goblin Bombardments either. You could get away with 2, especially if we're shaving on elites and not trying to go ABC. And if we're trying to take a more meandering path, get some value, and then threaten a combo from the mid-game. Yawgmoth functioned more like that, where old school Melira combo functioned more like what this deck's trying to do. And I think modern day Yawgmoth, being a mid-range deck with solid creatures that can inevitably crawl towards a combo, is probably how you want to respect this format. Cool. I enjoyed this deck a lot. I love playing toolboxy, clever little decks like this that are working for all their wins. This was a delight. Toolbox Hero, thank you for sharing it. Everyone, thanks for watching. Check out the Patreon to support the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.